evening. My name's Jeff Soley. I work for Production Manager, GE, at Liverpool Street. I'm a recruitment and training officer, which basically means that I take on people and then try to train them up for the jobs that we need today. I'm 20 years old and I've been on the railway since about 1986 when I came on through the YTS system, when it was been going for about 3 years by then. I've done several jobs. I started off in the lowest grade of junior railman, worked my way through, took a clerical exam, done clothing stores, and now I'm a training recruitment officer, as I said. We've only been going, as far as the training recruitment goes, since March. I think it's March. And so we've been treading new water, or new ground as the saying goes, and as far as we're concerned, we're still having problems with recruitment and training, but like Dennis on the civil engineers, we're trying to work through them. Because production manager is a lot different. It's on the sense of you are there to provide a product. You know, you are there at the end of the day. It ain't like area managers. You ain't there just to run it. You're actually to improve. And each section has to feel that as well with actually getting on with people and letting people know your ideas as such. Why I've been put on this course today is because I will be doing presentations, visual and verbal, to schools and careers conventions, to people of all different backgrounds and ages. And I need to actually talk to them without waffling, as I usually do. What other questions we got here? Oh yeah, I work at Liverpool Street, as I've already said. Let me think. What I need to be helped with from everyone here, hopefully, is to actually point out when not just to carry on, because I don't actually stop talking, I just carry on talking on and on and on. Yeah, cut it short, that's the thing. Is there any questions that you'd like to ask me? No.
What address do you have outside?
Oh yeah, I forgot that one. Well, I am a railway enthusiast, not an absolute nutty railway enthusiast in the sense of modern railways and etc. I don't look at overheads and go, oh God. Some of my friends do actually. They look at signal boxes and say, God almighty, there's a signal box with levers on it actually. I like to travel about. I like travel and photography, and I like to combine both subjects. When I'm out on the railway, I like going up to Scotland and travelling on the Highland lines when they have 37.4s and not sprinters. But yeah, I like travelling about on the railway, and I've travelled in Europe on the rail as well. And I like to cultivate that, you know, in the future.
Jeff, what's your ambition on the railway?
Ambition? Well, I've got an open mind really. I'd like to be, my ambitions ain't too big at the moment. I'd like to be a YTS coordinator, because I'm ex-YTS and I'd like to, the worm that turns sort of thing. But go through the personnel line of promotion, be a personnel manager one day. That's what I hope. Anyway.
Thank you.
Do you think that we are succeeding in recruiting staff maybe?
No, not at the moment. We are, as the saying goes, fighting fires, because we're not offering the right amount of money. Well, I won't go into them, but as you know, there's a lot of problems we've got visually as well. Good afternoon, gentlemen. I'm last in line, so I'll try and make this as short and sharp as appropriate. We come through all the lines that have actually come through to this point, which is the end of your speech or your presentation. This is the end part where audience reaction is going to hopefully increase again. It's high at the start because people want to hear what you're going to say. It moves down on a gradual slide to the main body of the presentation, because people actually have actually heard what you're going to say. They think, well, this ain't that interesting, and wait till the end of it. Now, this is the curve that comes. At the start, the introduction, they're actually interested in what you're going to say. So you're hitting them with the main points. Your objectives. You're telling them what basically the audience wants to hear. It moves down you come to the body. Come to the body of your presentation. The facts and figures, like it's been said before, facts and figures of what you're about to say, what you're trying to sell, if you like. And what I'm here to talk about is the audience questioning techniques. Question and answers, basically, in the sense that I've told you something about what I'm trying to sell. Now I want to see what you think about it, and see if I've got the answers for what you're going to ask me. Now, as I said, it moves up to the end. Now, in most discussion groups, like we've done today, we've waited till the end, and we've looked around at each other, and then started asking the questions. Not asking why, but that's where the normal form that it follows. But the main point is you don't really want to use it then. You can use it, and you can, as I said, you can use it anywhere. Question and answers can go anywhere, but how you handle them is what is important. Because if people come to you at the end, you know, you've got to, basically a lot of the time, you've got to go back to what you've already said. You know, if you want to do that, great. At the start, if it's going to be a very technical speech, then it's sometimes best if you actually ask people. Give you a written question, so you can actually come to that at the start or at the end of it. Really and truly, when you're talking to people, and as I said, because of that curve, the audience retention curve, try get it in the middle. If you're speaking now, and it's going slowly down your interest, and you think to yourself, they're all looking very bland. I'm talking about audience retention. When you are speaking, try, like Mike said, try change the speed. If you're trying to say something that's important, say it slowly. Then, move on to the other subject. As well, which is important, you're sitting there. I'm actually talking to you as a railway employees. If I'm talking about railway or signals, you probably know a lot about it, a lot more than me about it. So I've got to know what I'm talking about and be ready. Be ready for any question to pop out at you. If I leave a pause, you jump in and say, oh, what about that? I've got to be ready for that. But again, don't jump out as you've said your presentation, don't jump out and say, oh, just repeat what you said. Pause and go, that's an interesting question. Now, the answer to that is, you've paused, you've thought of an answer. It's just that little bit. And people actually think you're evaluating the question that you've said. As I've got on there, it does move up again. And the whole point of your presentation is either you're selling things or you're telling someone something. So at the end of that, you want them to know what you're talking about. Now, if you say at the start, you get to the end and they think, God, what was he talking about at the end of it? I forgot. So as has been said before, go through it point by point. Now, the attitude, your attitude to questions is important, because sometimes questions, as I said, will come at you when you don't expect them. So if someone actually, I walk along, I'm looking at this and Alistair comes to me and says, what about that? Don't turn around and say, if you could wait, Alistair, for a minute. Just wait, you know, or wait till the end, I'll answer that. Man's put off, the rest of the class feels intimidated. Just say, okay, Alistair. And then you go into the question. And you inform everyone else as well. Now, after I've said something, ask for questions if people ain't forthcoming. Go to someone, say, what was your opinion on that? Also brings them out. People think to themselves, ah, it's like a prompt card. Yeah. If someone has come to me, like it happened this morning when I was speaking about me in general, I was asked if there was any questions. Someone said, what's your future on the railway? Nothing to do with what I was actually talking about. Say, well, I want to be general manager. Hopefully it creates a laugh and you move back onto the subject. You know, getting back to the point. Getting back to the point. Because really and truly, you could sit here and talk all day. You don't really want to talk about weather or anything. You want to get back to your point all the time. People, if they're bored, don't want to say, oh God, that's very interesting. What are you doing that for? You know, whatever. Now, oops, everything's falling off here. Probably made by British Rail. Now with the end of the classroom. There might be very different sorts of, as Alistair said, you have different sorts of presentations that you do, different people that you do them to. People that really want to know questions, people that don't, people that have been forced to go there. Now, you might actually be given a presentation and people are actually not interested in what you say. They actually want to put their point of view. You don't want that. You're there to give them your point of view and for them to accept it. Like Chris said, in the Anglo-Danish, people come in there and want to make a statement. Now, you get, like I said before, difficult questions. You get people that come along and they're trying to test you with this difficult question. If you don't know the answer, don't lie. Don't get drawn into lying. Don't waffle either. Waffle for it, because you lose the respect of your audience. They won't believe what you said all before, or what your main point is if you lie. Say, like Chris comes on to me and says, "What about that?" So that's, like I said, that's an interesting question. I haven't got the information relevant for the moment, but I'll be happy to talk to you afterwards about it. You defer the question, keep the confidence of your audience. Now, also as well, say I was asking a question, I'd be going, Mike, Mike, I'll be trying to persuade Mike to give me some overtime for my staff to get a certain job done. Mike would come to me and say, "Well, why should I give you this overtime? You haven't done it before." Now, there's no way of getting out of that answer, except saying that maybe Norman was on my side and say, "Well, Norman, what do you think of that as well? Norman and I both work together. We both feel like this. So that if you attack me back, Norman will jump to my defence and his defence because he'll feel blamed as well." But a loaded question, if you are in a presentation, you feel like you have got the right argument, don't get angry. The most important thing is, if someone's trying to goat you, don't get angry. Like I said when I was never be scared of a question. Treat each question as a challenge. Smile, make them feel at ease. Now, the other subject is, I've drawn on this, this morning, when Richard asked me a question about my career on the railway. It was a question that had nothing to do with subjects, and say, look, you took about 15 minutes trying to come out with the question or something. You're saying, this and the other, and so you're getting deviated away from the point, and the class is bored. The class gets bored, they forget. The whole point is that keep each member of the class interested. You get bored very easily. Don't try concentrate on one person. If it's a bland audience, point at people in a rough section so all that group feels involved. Involvement's very important for class satisfaction. Now also, like I said, you get the people that actually are not interested in what you're saying. They've come, they've been forced, they want to actually make a point. They want to come there and sort of stand up and say, "I totally disagree with this. I think this is all wrong. I think it's a load of rubbish." Don't stop trying to interrupt them. Let them make a fool of themselves. Just stand back, look at them, look at everyone looking at them thinking, "God, what the hell are they doing?" And then say to them, "But what is the point of your question? Why are you saying this?" After they've said it all. Because you're not interested in what they're saying. You're saying, why have you stood up and made this? Don't you think you should actually have made this at a later date? We can make it at a later date. I'll be glad to talk to you afterwards about it. So you get them off that question and say, it doesn't really matter what they say. If they're going to come and disturb you, totally ignore what they say. Now, getting back to the other question of not knowing your subject. If your presentation is got good material but you don't know about it, there's not a lot you can do. You are in trouble if you've got a well-educated, or not well-educated, but an educated in the sense of the presentation that you're making of the audience. Then, again, don't lie. Just wait and keep command of the class, but don't lie. Now, things to avoid. Don't get into an argument, as I said. Makes the class don't feel confident in you. You shouldn't actually put someone down if there it goes, and me starts having a go at me. I shouldn't nail him to the wall, because people will feel sorry for him. The class will actually lean towards him, and you don't want that. Do not lie and waffle, as I said, because someone will get you in the end. If you're there to make a presentation, defer it. But not too much, because it's a balance you've got to strike of keeping the confidence and not making pie in the sky statements. Do not avoid questions. If Alistair, like I said earlier on, comes to me, answer his question. Make it short, sharp, but answer his question. People will be impressed by that. Don't lose control, whatever the situation. Right through this situation, do not lose control and keep calm. If you keep calm, people you gain everyone in front of you their respect. They believe what you're saying, they believe that you believe what you're saying. Do try to be interesting, even if it's a boring subject. Like most of the subjects that you'll be presenting, they will be boring. Try and make it interesting. Try saying...
not be.
What?
Better not be.
But try and make it interesting. Try actually by using visuals, and don't deviate from the subject, but try use a broader examples of the subject you're talking about. Do be short and sharp with the question and answers. If someone's coming to me, give them snappy answers to questions. Again, it instills confidence in you as a person giving a presentation and in the subject that you are presenting.
Excuse me, Jeffrey, are you coming to the end yet, please?
Yeah. Do be ready for anything. With all the other subjects that we've gone through, they've all been basically presentation set, not presentation, preparation, set for platform techniques. Getting ready for that moment when you stand up, and don't matter how much you prepare, you know, you go turn into a muppet without an hand up its back. Be ready for it. Have that buzz of energy inside you. And finally, and most of all, get your point across. Whatever you're talking about, as you come to the end of that boring cycle, get your point across. Say, this is why I'm telling you, and this way it's going to be a benefit to you. Okay, let's go to the pub.
I was going to ask one question. I'll give us a quick note now.
I've got one.
You mentioned two possibilities of asking questions, either during the presentation itself, and you gave the example of Alistair perhaps interrupting, or of course deferring a whole lot to the end, as we've been doing this afternoon. Isn't there a risk with the first one of being caught out in your schedule, a greater risk than with the second one of forgetting where you are, being diverted, and suddenly finding you've lost track, and so on? Because if one interrupts, then you set the precedent for everyone asking questions right in the middle of your...
If you can handle it, that's the whole point, that's what the book says. If you can handle questions in the middle of your presentation, then do it. Because it shows that you are confident in your subject, you know your subject. Because as I agree, it's the most difficult to do. Because people are asking you a question about something you may be talking about, or you've already talked about. But keeping that all going together without getting it crossed over is difficult, I mean. But it is the best one, if you can do it.
Yeah.
But remember, don't try to stretch yourself. I'm not saying try to stretch yourself, I'm just saying do the best you can. But if you can't do it, then make the best use of the resources you have. There's nothing wrong with doing it at the start or the finish. It's just the best one to keep people interested. During that retention curve is in the middle.
Yes.
Okay, Jeffrey, just one question. If someone asks you a question that you do not know the answer for, how do you address that problem?
What, about the subject I was presenting on?
That's right.
I would again, without trying to get too typecast, change them away from the question by saying, that is an interesting question, and that is one that we have been looking at recently to do with the subject. But it is such an in-depth question that rather than waste all of it, basically what I'm aiming for is it's like a careers convention sort of area, and it's going to be my main objective. My subject is YTS and RTS on the railway. That's the youth training scheme, the railway training scheme that's moving into, and why you as the audience of parents, children, parents and young people are actually why you actually want to go on that course or become part of the railway training scheme. Your attitude is open-minded but sceptical about a career on the railway. Basically.
Any questions on that?
What's your objective?
I've already said it, haven't I? To persuade you, because the
Oh, you can say I see. Yeah. Yeah. You've definitely said parents.
This is within a school environment.
this is within a hall environment, either a hall or a classroom. You know, whatever. It can be used in both senses.
So we could actually all be lined up behind desks.
Would you ever get a situation where you will be like doing a presentation on a stand, say, and right next door there could be another company doing a similar presentation?
Very often at a careers convention, if I have to give a presentation, that's why you have to, like you don't want to avoid shouting because you end up getting the army bloke come next door and say, "Shut up!" or say, "Is that?" It has happened.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Okay,
Can we get down? 35 past now.
Go.
Okay. Good morning, ladies, gentlemen, students. I'm from the railway, that horrible subject that everyone likes to have a go at, but I'm not here to talk about the train service. I'm here to talk about you and us and the partnership that I'd like to tell you about that we've got at the moment and we'd like to move more into in the future, with training for young people between 16 and 18. Now, the question that you should all ask about this time when you're about to leave school is, what do I want to do? What do I want to do, you know? I don't know, you know, you don't really know. You can get help. One thing everyone's got advice on is school options when you leave and careers. Everyone's got an opinion on it. So we won't try say, you must join us. We'll just give you what we do and hopefully you'll find it interesting and inquire and try to join us later on. Now, the YTS, you've probably all heard about it. It's very bland, the YTS. It stands for the Youth Training Scheme. Now being transformed into the RTS, because the government has decided that rather than have a broad, bland training scheme that covers the whole country and any company, they'd rather bring it down to a more local level, that each company is more interested, doesn't think, oh, these are just government trainees, we're not really interested, we don't owe them anything. Because on the YTS you actually stick to a more strict curriculum in the sense of what you taught and how you could employ people. With the RTS, the Railway Training Scheme, even only a slight difference in name, a vast difference in style of training and help for you. Now, the differences I'll go through quickly because I doubt you're that interested at the moment. The YCS basically were paid by the government, the trainees that went on it were paid by the government, there was no commitment at all from the company and there was hardly any benefits except for the basic rate that you got on YTS from the government. No, most companies didn't actually give any top up. Now with the RTS comes along, you are railway trainees in the sense that you are joining the railway as a junior employee. You're not just a trainee on a scheme on the elbow of the company. You are a trainee, you are going to become an integral part of that company's training system and personnel organisation. You will have a contract, even though the contract will only last for 2 years. That contract can be extended, and in 85% of cases that have joined the old YCS, they've got jobs on the railway. Unlike other companies that do, I know what everyone fears is slave labour. It's that horrible word, slave labour. Dirty manual jobs that no one else wants to do. That isn't what we're looking for. We're looking for people to contribute to the railway and for us to give them something back for it as well.
Jeff, can I ask a question?
Mm-hmm.
If my son went on a RTS course and he didn't further his career with the railway, would it be a recognised qualification for him in another industry?
Well, Richard, I will be getting onto that and explaining that better to you. And rather than bring it too forward out of context, I will bring that to you. So, here we go. There's the RTS. Part of the company, like I said, and the rate of pay. The crucial thing, the rate of pay is different from any other organisations. We've increased it because we realised that the rate of pay was too low. You know, everyone, even though it's more difficult now, wants to come out of school and go on to an adult rate of pay. Now, we cannot give you the full rate of pay because you're only 16 to 18. You, at that time, have not, in the view of government, reached full adulthood. So we have to be restricted to actually what we can pay you. But we're paying more than it was, and we are paying the maximum we can, which is £70. £70. Now, you know that it's £30 for YCS. We've moved up to £70, plus a London allowance of £24.83. So you're talking almost £100 straight out of school. You know, it's your choice whether or not you feel that's any good or not. Yes, Mike?
How many hours would I have to do, or my son have to do for that?
Well, the hours will be exactly the same. They are staff hours of 39 hours a week, but you cannot be abused in the sense that we don't ask you, because we are a 24-hour company, we do not ask trainees to start before 6 o'clock or work until 10 o'clock, beyond 10 o'clock. So it's any time within that period. 5 days a week, no Saturday or Sunday working, no bank holiday working either. So, in a sense, you've got the work experience of being with a company without having to actually be in the dirty end with the men. You can watch and learn and contribute without actually having the authority, not the authority, but the weight of that job on top of you, the jobs that you do. Because the jobs are varied. We train you up to do each job on the railway, a varied amount of jobs. And so you could do them, really and truly you could do them. But we don't actually ask you to do them. We ask you to help on each job and give your opinions on them as each week goes by. Now, British Rail, in general, when anyone thinks of joining British Rail, as hopefully they do, all they usually think of is, oh, I want to be a train driver. And, you know, that's all the railway runs by, but it doesn't. The railway has got a big organisation and that organisation extends into many fields of...
There's a wheel on the side.
Oh, I'm doing well here, aren't I? Well, we all basically want to see what British Rail... There we go. It's a bit better. Can everyone see now?
It's fine.
Yes.
Yes.
Good. Because this is important in the sense that it just looks like another boring old chart, but well, it's still out of focus, I think. It's even worse.
Steve, carry on. You won't get it in focus because it's popping.
Well, we'll try to get it as best as we can anyway. We're not trying to hide anything from you. Now, I'll say it quickly because as it's going through it quick, as you can see, there are many facets on the tree of British Rail. And, God, well, I won't use that because you can't see it, but you can basically see what the tree formed out into, from the top to the bottom. Now, when you come onto the RTS, you can join any part of that trade. We are now moving into every sector of the railway for trainees. So whatever you're interested in, there is always, if you're interested in clerical, mechanical, the operating side, if you want to be a driver, anything like that, you know, we've got for you if you want it.
Jeff, would you mind terribly much putting the pointer down, please? It's driving me bananas.
There's just one point here, Jeff. Am I right in saying though, that under the age of 18, none of the work can involve going near or on the track?
No, you can't actually go on the track, but you can work near the track.
What's the difference?
Difference is that
Within 2 metres.
on the station is near the track, and you will be working on the station. Now, we'll move to our next slide. Hopefully, this time it works. When you start YTS, you have an induction course, of course, so it basically tell you about the railway and the safety side of it before you go out onto the stations. And we have there, if we can get it in front, the full list, a year's, because it's a 2-year scheme at the moment, but most people actually come off it before the 2 years is up because they get jobs. We offer you jobs. We note how well you're doing. At the start you have the induction, and then you move through every facet of the railway. It's hard to see, but the next stage is passenger station operating and activities. Next, the passenger business. Then trade unions, the freight side of it, everything goes through there. As well, it ain't just work experience on the stations. You go out for a residential course, in the sense that you go away for a week or 2 weeks to a place somewhere in Britain. We've got several schools, and you go on an outward bound course to develop leadership skills and other skills to do with coping with a business, idea skills as well. It's fun, and you're learning as well, which is the main point of the RTS, it being fun and for you to learn.
What is this outward bound course that my daughter would be going on? Yeah.
The outward bound course is at a location somewhere in the country, probably Westbury, in the southeast of England, and it's schoolwork as well as going out, you know, making rafts and, you know, like route learning in the sense of getting a map saying get to another point, rest of it. It's things that demand something of you. See how you can actually handle that situation.
So is it
See
like
if
the
you thrive in
Scouts?
it. No, it isn't like the Scouts, because the Scouts go out and they learn basic skills again and again. This is more aimed at you as a person, not just something to learn. Things to actually expand you in mind and body. Now, with the RTS, once you join it, you join from school. Now, I joined the YTS from the school, and as like everyone else, I thought, well, it's something to do before I get a real job. But I discovered that it isn't like that. The YTS was something that actually helped me, because you walk out of school and you think, you know, like I said, what do I do? What am I going to do? You know, I want a proper job. But you're worried. You come out of school and, you know, you don't really have anything clear in your mind. It points to a direction, the YTS. You go on it, and it isn't just based on, you know, the railway, like the RTS coming. You have social skills, learning about computing, skills that you can transfer to other YTS and other industry when you leave. So, if you leave school and you haven't got the qualifications that you wanted, you can still gain them by actually being on RTS. Now, what we have here is you. You come out of school, and your aim, if you've got an aim and a direction, and you actually know what you want to do and you can get it, great, go get it. But if you have an open mind, then join the RTS, because you have the first stage of bringing you into the working environment. And then it moves on to the other stage of actually teaching you relevant skills that would help you. And then at the end of it, it's you. You as a bigger person. Someone who can handle yourself in a working environment. Someone who can make decisions. Someone that employers want as their employee. So basically, summing up, I've changed the YTS to suit you and us, to help you clarify your point of view about the railway, and to help us train you for a full-time job on the railway. Because if you join the RTS, that's what your ultimate aim, we hope, what is to be, to actually work for the railway. The facts are, we're a solid company in the sense that we've been here for quite a while now. We've been doing YTS, we have experience in YTS, and we have the structure, the infrastructure for good training, in the sense that we can actually put you at a location and you'll be there learning as well as doing the job, not just being plumped into the job. We want you. We do. That's why we're here. We want you. Because now you're our greatest asset. The greatest asset on the railway isn't trains, isn't stations, it's you, staff, or hopefully staff of the future. The money side of it, £70 a week plus London allowance. It's higher than anyone else. And I know that's important when you leave school. Framework for skill development. We have courses while you're on YTS that you can take up, BTEC courses and other educational courses. If you want to take them up, they're there. It's an option for you. Number 5. Do well, we recognise it, you get a job. As I said, 85% of the people that come on there get a job. The other 15% actually joined, didn't like what they saw, either transferred to another YTS or left our scheme. We help you with the transition from school to work. And you can joke about it, say, look, oh, you know, I can handle it. But it is different. You know, if someone says something nasty to you in work, you can't walk over to them and thump them. Well, you can do it, but you won't be there long. It helps because you come back each week on the Friday of your course and say, this is what I've done. And people there are interested. And you actually get used to work. You get used to work, the way people act and react. We help that with social skills courses, how to get on with each other. Think you can enjoy as well as learn? I hope so.
Mr. Soley, if my son joined your RTS scheme here in London, my company for whom I work are moving out to Plymouth in the new year, would he be able to transfer to the railway down there?
Yes.
Thank you.
Is there any other questions?
My daughter, the railway does employ women, of course, but it's got a bit of a butch, male-oriented, macho image of engine drivers and so on. And you didn't mention any particular aspect as concerns females. Would she be wasting her time on an RTS?
No, because we have two sides of the RTS. We have clerical and traffic. For the person that wants to actually be on the engineering side, or be a train driver, or work on the station, or be a signalman, we have a course aimed at them, linked with a clerical-wide RTS. People that have come in are interested in administration, personnel and management. Now, we cross-fertilise these both sections to actually give people an idea so they can swap over if they want. But we can do both. I mean, when I was on the YTS, I joined on the traffic side. I ended up on the clerical side. I saw both sides. I preferred the clerical, I went for it.
So girls mainly join the clerical RTS?
Mainly, but I had 3 girls on my RTS side. One of them is now a driver, or a trainee driver.
Oh, I see.
We actually don't view people in a sense of sex, race, language, where they come from. We view people as people, what they want to do, and we try to help them do it.
She wouldn't be a fish out of water then?
No, she wouldn't be a fish out of water. We make everyone welcome. And if that's what you want as a parent, your son to learn, or your daughter to learn, as well as enjoy and have a future, then we're here. If you've left school, you're not sure what to do, and you're looking for something interesting, we're here. Now, I'll be down amongst you in a minute, if you're interested. 8 strong. It's the 11th